Hello, friends. Today we're gonna try unusual tea that is called Cha Gao. Cha Gao literally translates as tea paste, and it's basically an extract of tea in concentrated amount. Basically, how Cha Gao is made is tea, usually pu'er, is boiled for a long time. I think 2 days, if I'm not mistaken, until only residue stays on the bottom of the pot where it's boiled, and this residue is then dried out, and we get a tea paste. And this tea paste contains the concentrate of this tea. If you're familiar with like resin, live resin, it's similar idea. And this tea originated a long time ago, and back in the days during the Qing Dynasty, it was mostly used as a tea for elites, and it was resurrected in the middle of last century, and it gained some popularity in 2000s. So we're gonna try this tea today. This tea is unusual. I haven't had this tea before. What makes it unusual, this particular one, is that this one is extracted from shanpuer. Usually it is made of shupuer, ripe puer, and this one is raw puer. And the producers of this tea, they claim that this shanpuer, this chagao made of shanpuer, is made of banjan material, not lao banjan material, not the core area, however, banjan material. And if you're familiar with what lao banjan is, this is one of the most praised, if not the most praised region where they make puer, and puer from Lao Banjan costs thousands of dollars. And there is a greater Banjan area uh, that incorporates like nearby villages, and tea there is significantly cheaper, however, still very expensive. So I don't know whether the claim is true or not. I want to believe this producer. However, it is I cannot attest it because to me it sounds a little bit counterintuitive that such praised and such sought for material is being processed like this into paste. So this paste brick looks like. So this is 1 gram uh, of tea paste, and it is roughly equivalent to like 5 to 6 gram of unprocessed tea. And by unprocessed, I don't mean like completely unprocessed, like white tea. I mean just not processed as tea paste. So we're gonna try it and see what this banjan material turns into if we brew it uh, in a form of chagao. So first, we're gonna warm up the teaware as we always do. And I want to say that to me, I don't think it makes much difference whether this tea is brewed Gong Fu style or whether it's brewed Western style. The way I understand it, it does not make a big difference between because there will not be much of a progression of taste because we're gonna be extracting the same residue, the same paste, uh, tea from the same paste. So I don't expect much of uh, progression of taste. However, I just enjoy brewing it this style. So that's how we're gonna do it. So as we warmed up the teaware, I'm gonna place the paste into the gaiwan and let it warm up for a couple of seconds to see what kind of aroma uh, we will get from it. In the meantime, I'm warming up the rest of the teaware. If you can see, you see that the paste is already melting a little bit. So I'm getting a sweet smell of candies. Back where I'm from in Ukraine, in my childhood, there were these candies made of barberries flour. Not made of this flour, but with the aroma of barberries flour. This one reminds me of that, like slightly medicinal and sweet. So let's start brewing it. And we're gonna brew it not as we brew the usual tea. We're gonna pour a little bit of water first and let the paste melt a little, and then we're gonna add more water to it, because otherwise if we would pour all the water, the brew would be very saturated. Some of the paste will be settling down at the bottom, so it would be like a thicker brew at the bottom and a thinner brew at the top, and we don't want it to happen. So we want to desaturate the brew as much as possible, and that's why we are brewing it in 3 steps, desaturating the brew. And the aroma intensified, but it's still the same aroma. You can see it here, it's melting already. And this is the color of the brew that we are extracting from that. So the color is pretty dark for Shanpuer. The color looks beautiful, looks very like pretty intense for what it is. Mm. And the taste actually came out stronger than I expected. Mm. There is a little bit of, tiny bit of bitterness that's attributed to Shanpuer, especially from Banjan area. It feels like light fruity notes. Dried apricots. So it's actually pretty decent for young puer taste. I expected it to be a little bit on a thinner side because my previous experiences with tea paste were giving me very uh, I was getting very thin body from the tea, and this one is also, it's pretty thin. I would not call it thick, but the taste is more intense that I would normally expect. Maybe because this tea does come from Banjan area. Interesting. There are like a few different notes going on in this tea. Very nice. I want to see if there will be a progression of taste. Um, the aroma is still like very sweet and medicinal. So let's give it another go. The finish is pretty intense, um, slightly, very slightly astringent, mouth watering. Um, I think this is so far, this is the best result that I've ever gotten from Cha Gao. So sounds pretty promising. Once again, we're gonna brew it in 3 steps to make sure that the brew is not saturated. Adding a little bit of water at a time, a few times, like 3 times. This way, it gets all mixed well together. All right. Visually, the brew did not get much darker. It looks like the color is about the same. The aroma got a little bit weaker, and the tea, the paste keeps on melting, but it seems there is still a lot of it to go. The second brew tastes weaker than the first one. It could be because we are brewing it for lesser time than the first time. I think the first brew took me a little bit longer, so maybe less of the tea got extracted. But overall, I'm getting the same taste as the first time. It's just a little bit less intense. And if you want to brew it in Western style, the recommended ratio is 1 gram per about half a liter of water. And you just cover the tea with hot water, the paste, and you wait for it to dissolve in the water completely. So yeah, there is not much change. However, it's still pleasantly uh, fruity. Has a tiny bit of bitterness, like somewhere on the background. Overall, all the tastes, all the I wouldn't say aroma, but the tastes they a little bit subdued, and the body is on a thinner side. Is not a thick body, not full bodied tea. In terms of how my body reacts to it, I'm starting to noticing some energy going up to my head. I'm starting as the tea cools off a little bit. I get a little bit of like a citrusy aroma, like almost like lemon like aroma. And the paste is melting beautifully. So let's brew it one more time. Once again, in few consecutive pours to make sure the brew is desaturated, is all evenly distributed. Because I can see from here that it goes in layers as we pour water. Like the lower layer is thicker than the top layer. And when we pour tea in it, we disturb it a little bit, and the layers, they mix up together. So let's desaturate it as much as possible, and also give it a little bit of time to brew, but because maybe we're getting like a weaker brew because there is not enough extraction. So that should be plenty. Let's see the results we're gonna get from this. Yeah, I can definitely feel the energy coming from this tea. That's interesting. Now I'm getting interesting. There is definitely a progression of taste. I don't actually know how to explain it, what to attribute it to, but I definitely feel it. Every brew is slightly different from the other, which makes it interesting. This is one of the reasons, one of the things that we like Gonfucha for. So right now I'm getting much more citrusy notes than before. At first there was sweetness, much more sweetness. Um, Now there is some acidity. Um, However, the taste is also getting weaker. There is no more bitterness whatsoever, and the body is also getting thinner. But I feel this tea in my stomach. I feel the energy of this tea going up into my head. But in terms of taste, it leaves me a little bit unsatisfied. I wish it was a little bit more vivid. The aroma also like subdued by this time, but maybe because the paste cooled off a little bit. You can see how it melted at this point. Finish, however, is pretty long. It's coating. I feel like my mouth is coated and it's mouth watering. We're gonna feed our teapot a little bit. And for the last one, I just want to get a little bit more of a concentrate. So I'm gonna pour just a little bit at the bottom and see what we can get from this tea if we pour just like a cup worth of tea in this. So let's brew it and see what's going on. It's pretty pleasant. It's just, I wish there was more, but I wouldn't call the taste unpleasant. It's just leaving me a little bit like craving for more stuff. But it's an interesting experience for sure. So here I'm trying to pour like a concentrated brew. In terms of color, it is darker. It is definitely darker. I don't know if you can see it, but this is like right now on a like a brownish side. I just love seeing it melting and the residue at the bottom looks beautiful. So yeah, this is definitely more concentrated. Mm, I get more of a like acidic, sourish notes. The body got a little bit thicker, but not by much. Overall, it's very pleasant. However, for me, it's a little bit not enough. All in all, I can say that it's an interesting experience. And if you have access to chagao, you should definitely try it. I don't know whether we're gonna source this tea or not. Probably not, but maybe we'll change our mind. Who knows? Keep an eye on our selection. Um, I would rather drink lesser processed tea, like a proper Banjan material, than tea paste. However, I can see how this can be convenient on trips to take like a small packet like this with you instead of packing tea, and 1 gram instead of 5 grams, 6 grams. So you save a lot of weight. So that's like 5, 6 times lighter. And the reputation that this tea was getting is instant tea. Um, the producers, they say that they don't try to replace the real quote unquote tea with this one. It's just something to add to the experience. So as that, as a novelty, as trying something new, it's definitely worth a try. Would I be drinking that on a daily basis? I am not sure. However, as I'm recording this video and keep talking, I still feel the finish on my mouth, and I definitely feel the effect of this tea. It woke me up. It gave me a little bit more energy. I'm definitely feeling its chi. Um, yeah, it's an interesting experience, and I hope you like this video. Um, If you did like it, subscribe to the channel. Also, subscribe to our newsletter. The link is gonna be in the description, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.